coping strip technique I want to teach you is the straight set technique. So to prepare for this particular episode, I went home and tried to find some orphan blocks. You know, those blocks that I'd made 10 years ago and never turned them into a quilt. It's really sad how many orphan blocks I have laying around. So this is an old block of the month that I taught that was all Christmas fabric. So a variety of Christmas fabrics. And they all turned out multiple sizes, as oftentimes piece blocks do. So you can see the variety of colors that I used. And on the blocks, you're now seeing the finished coping strips going all the way around. So this is a straight set coping strip. One more block, right? And you can see that I used a variety of green fabrics. Again, why use one fabric when you can use 10 fabrics? Always a better idea in my opinion. So now I'm going to show you how I did this. So I first took strips and I took all of these different colors. So I went to my stash of fat quarters and I just pulled out green. I wasn't too particular about what shade or what color. I didn't want it too light, but other than that, just a large variety of colors. And then I cut them into 2.5-inch strips. So I have a whole batch of 2.5-inch strips. I took the blocks and I just started piecing those 2.5 strips around. So started here, added the second one. Here's the third one going around till I had the fourth strip on the block. So now we need to square up the block. So I'm going to clean off my cutting table and keep this last one on the board. All right. For this, because these blocks are going to be bigger than 12.5 inches, I'm going to use my 15-inch ruler. And I learned this technique from Sharon Craig. When you're trying to square up a block, one of the difficulties is keeping your ruler from sliding on the block. She just took a little bit of her basting spray, just sprays it a little bit on the back, not so much that, well, there's a little bit of fog, but not too much. Not too much fog in the air. And then when you put this down on the block, you need to be evaluating the block. So I'm looking here and I'm seeing, all right, so I can have 1.5 inches of green here, 1.5 there. This block actually is going to turn out really nice. I'm going to have 1.5 inch of the green going all the way around. And then I'm going to stick that down with the basting spray. Going to square it up to 15.5 inches. And because I added that basting spray to it, I can just turn the ruler and the block is going to come with me. And now I have a perfect 15-inch block. This coping strip technique is called the Wonky strips. My friend Ginger likes to call them the kitty wampus strips. I don't know what kitty wampus means, but wonky I think I can do. So this block again, I started it from a block of the month probably 10 years ago, went to my orphan block box, and I found these purple and green blocks. So with this, I wasn't sure what color to add for the coping strips, and I got to thinking about the color wheel, and on the color wheel there's green, purple, and yellow. So I thought yellow or gold would be a nice option. And in my stash, I found this fabulous fabric that has purple and green and gold going all around. It's such a great variety of color. I thought one fabric would be enough for the coping strips on this particular block. That also leads me to a little. Lately, people have been cleaning out their stashes. They want to maybe minimalize what they have. I do not ever think you should minimalize or clean out your stash. You never know. I'll bet you I bought this fabric 10 years ago, and it's been in my stash waiting all this time to be used on this quilt. So with this Wonky strip coping technique, you're going to see that the strips are going to end up being large on one side and the smaller. So the blocks are actually tipped. And I like that not only can they be tipped, but they're going to also be able to be tipped in the opposite direction. Just add more interest to the whole block. So again, we started by adding one strip, the second strip, Then we had 3 strips going around. And there it is with the 4 strips going all the way around. Now I'm going to show you how to square this up wonky style. Going to use my ruler, still got a little bit of that sticky left on it from last time. And now, instead of trying to have an even amount of the strip all the way around the block, I'm actually going to tip it. So I need to make sure that from the edge of the ruler to one of the points on the block is never less than a half of an inch. You want to have a half of an inch. That's going to give your block enough to float inside the wonky strips. So all the way around, I'm going to try and position it so that there's approximately a half inch going all the way around. Going to push it down. It's still got a little bit of that sticky on it. Whoops. Cut. There. Now this block is tipped to my left. The next block I'm going to tip to my right. So this one was that way, so now I'm going to go this way. Again, position it so that the block itself is at least a half inch from the edge of the ruler. So I'm going to have a half inch, so my block is going to be able to float a little bit. And cut. So now you see that I have 2 blocks and a lot of scrap fabric. And they're actually going in opposite directions. When the time comes for me to put this block together, or these blocks together into a quilt, I might actually leave them right together. I might put a sashing strip between it, maybe a dark purple, a dark green, something to add some more color to it. But doing the wonky strip is really going to make your block very cool. All the cool kids are going to think that you've made the best blocks in the class. The final type of coping strip I want to talk to you about is what I would call a hidden coping strip. So the first ones that I showed you with the green and the gold, we were actually adding an accent color going all the way around the block. So on this one, we added the green accent color. With this one, we added that beautiful gold accent color. Well, these blocks actually have a white background to them. They're really large blocks, and I just thought maybe I didn't need to add a color. So instead of adding a color to these, I'm going to pick up the background color and add that all the way around the strips. So in this case, the white background with the white coping strips, those coping strips become hidden. You don't really even know they're there. Nobody would ever know that you were trying to actually square your blocks up all to the same size. Instead, it's just a white strip going around the blocks. And it also gives a really cool effect. These blocks actually will be sort of floating when they're set in the quilt. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. We wouldn't want you to miss a single show. Please share us with your friends and leave a comment. We would really love to hear from you.